Welcome to the College Week 1 recap here at Single Leg Parlay. We're going to go over all of our best bets from last week. We're going to talk about what we learned from last week. And boy, there was a lot to learn. But before we do any of that, here's Andy. Here's Al. I'm Matt. We're going to drink beer. Cheers.
Cheers, boys.
Now, if you get nothing else from this podcast, you need to go to our TikTok page, Single Leg Parlay, and follow Andy. He's been giving you the best bets. Last week, the TikTok best bets went 3-1. Also, you should listen to this podcast again because our best bets that we gave at the end of the week 1 preview went 4-1. Al barely missed an Akron Ohio State over 58.5. But it was very friggin' close. Andy's best bet of Sam Houston State plus 10. I think they just went out, won the game.
By a lot.
Akron plus 50. That got a little hairy, especially with that pick six near the end of the game. But
I was so pissed. I was so pissed that Akron covered because I was like, if they hadn't, I would have hit my over bet.
Yeah.
But touche, Chris.
Yeah. Danny had North Dakota State. A lot of us were on it. That game was really, really a fun game. A lot more fun than I thought. And then my Wisconsin, Western Michigan under 57.5 was not even close. That one covered by a huge amount.
Like
so,
an under is never a lock, but that thing was a lock at like halftime.
Yeah,
But
when they kept missing field goals. It's
impossible to go over.
I've never cared so much about a Western Michigan game in my life till that night.
It felt like our text group was like NC-17 rated. The ecstasy that was experienced during these unders. So
it was great.
It was
a lot of lip biting and
yeah, lots of lip biting.
Closing eyes.
We got taken away to paradise for sure.
Sure did.
But overall, we did pretty well. 56%, 28 and 22. You can retire on that kind of number if you keep doing that. Top winner last week. Let's give it to Chris. Was 2-0. We'll give him 100%. So kudos there. But Danny, 9 bets, 7 of them coming home. 77% win rate. Your boy is on fire. Andy had a great week at 6-3, and Al and I were not that great, but we're going to get after it this week. But don't worry about that. That's coming up in the next podcast. Today, we're just covering what happened last week. So let's start off with a really easy softball. Al, what team in week 1 impressed you the most?
You will never guess which team impressed me the most. The Miami Hurricanes laying 41 on the Gators in Gainesville. I was watching that game, and Cam Ward, there were at least a handful of plays in the first quarter where I kind of wanted to pull my hair out, like, what are you doing? But then he's also, making these terrible decisions, so to speak, where he's throwing, off balance, like throwing across the field, across his body, and I'm like, what are you doing? But then the ball is there, and either the receiver doesn't catch it or the play gets made. I'm like, okay, maybe I need to trust this guy as much as he trusts himself because he's got unbelievable talent. Just that was fun to watch. Miami's going to be fun to watch this year, which is exciting to me.
Yeah, it was a fun game. I'm going to go with Nevada.
Wait, can I interject here?
Sure.
There was a lot to take away from that game, right? Miami did a lot. They stole the spirit of the crowd. They were stealing recruits from directly behind the end zone.
Incredible.
And they also stole Billy Napier's hand strength to the point where he could not open a water bottle. Did you guys see this? Him at the press conference trying to open a water bottle. He looked like someone who wasn't involved enough, like a Neanderthal. He was going to start slapping the bottle against the table because he was so frustrated because he couldn't get it open. It was like an ultra bad look for a man.
Something tells me it wasn't the bottle that had him over a barrel, had him losing his mind. I think it might have been the previous 3 hours, but yeah.
The only
Sometimes
thing that was
hard to get those bottles open.
The only L for Miami that day was Mario Cristobal breaking the gator chomp over his knee. Super cringy. I did not like watching it. It made me really uncomfortable to watch. And I mean, he was right, but just the way he did it, I was like, are you an adult? You're like a grown-ass man? That's weird. That was a weird choice.
My brother is also a Hurricanes alum, and I saw him this weekend. We were talking, and he asked me, who was that? He mentioned Brian Kelly, and he's like, is there any college football coach that's as much of like just an asshole as Brian Kelly? And I'm like, literally all of them are. And he's like, I'm kind of partial to Cristobal, and I'm like, I think Cristobal's probably like not a like there. I can't think of a college football coach I want to sit down and have a beer with. Well,
He's
not many of
upper
them.
Echelon. Biff Poggi, by the way, is the correct answer to that question.
Yeah, for sure. Well, no, I think I want to have a hot dog with.
I'm sorry, I rudely interrupted you before, Andy. What team impressed you the most?
I'm going to go with Nevada. I know that's not a team that's on a lot of people's radar. They're not Power 4. They're not ranked. But on this podcast 1 week ago, I took Nevada plus 9.5. And people out there, the public, said that was dumb. And then they went out and won outright.
Yeah.
So
many people are saying they're 2-0.
Those people would be wrong, but they are going to fly past that win total. That's for damn sure.
So I think I'm people in this example because I sure was talking shit on it, and I was wrong. I think the coaching glow up that they've received. Choate is a good ass coach. I forgot who the coach was last year, but I think he went to Colorado State or he changed. And Nevada's playing so much better under Choate. Choate's a respected as hell head coach.
Got to be hard. Like it's got to be embarrassing not to measure up to Choate.
You guys want to hear a crazy stat?
Yeah.
Sure.
Brendan Lewis, the quarterback for Nevada, he started all 12 games last season.
Okay.
He started 2 games this season. He has more passing touchdowns this season than he had all of last season.
That's fantastic. How many does he have?
4.
Oh, that's so bad. Oh my God. I thought you were going to say like 8 maybe. And I'm like, okay, I could understand like, maybe they were run heavy, but no, like he did not throw 4 last year.
They were. He had a bunch of rushing touchdowns last year. But yeah, 4 passing touchdowns.
Way to go, Brendan Lewis.
I don't even know how to digest that stat. I'm not proud of it. I'm actually really discouraged. I actually hate Nevada more now. Thank you.
It makes me feel uncomfortable.
You're welcome.
The team that impressed me the most this weekend, there was a lot of great performances. Notre Dame looked good. Georgia looked good. Miami, of course, looked good. Those are 3 that were easy to take away from. Penn State. Okay, so Penn State, there's a couple things that are guarantees at Penn State. They're going to have a good-ass defense, right? Defense always travels. They play really tough. They went into Morgantown, and it was like not even a fucking problem on defense, right? They are going to be able to run the ball. Penn State always runs the ball. Nick Singleton, right? I think his last, it could be Singletary. I can't remember. Their running back's fucking good. They're gonna be really good, but they have never been able to pass the ball like this. They've never had Drew Aller and actual good wide receivers at the same time. They put a lot of good wide receivers in the pros, but they've never had a good quarterback to get it to them. This combination is scary. They've been a 9 or 10 win team without a passing attack. That team that went to Morgantown the other day, that can be trouble. And I'm really excited. That's a team I'm going to really focus in on because coming to Big Ten season, Oregon didn't look great. Michigan didn't look great. Ohio State was fine, but it
took them a while to get going, but they didn't start hot.
Penn State was the Big Ten team of the week to me. And if they can continue to pass like that, and Drew Aller, I think, had 50 or 60 yards on the ground too. Whoo, boy, that is going to be a tough offense to stop. I was blown away from their performance, and they covered the 8 easily in Morgantown.
So I don't typically like Penn State, just like historically. I think they kind of irk me as a team. But I will say it would be poetic to see all of these big-time teams join the Big Ten just to have like Penn State, who seems to be the little brother of the conference, is always almost there but can't quite get home, winning the conference and contending for an Natty, actually win the conference. That would be very fun. Very fun.
Penn State, Iowa, Big Ten championship is the game we all want. It's the game America needs.
It is.
I think we're the only people that would be excited about that.
I think so too. We're just sick though.
Yeah.
We're disgusting. Let's get sicker. We've been doing we're going to try to recap every week with some awards that we want to give away. We have some very personal awards to us, people that need to be recognized or teams that need to be recognized here in order for the bigger audience to know about. So I'm going to start with Al here. Al, what award would you like to give away this week?
Yeah, I've got a shiny bauble here I'd like to hand out to, the award is the Coincidence I Think Not award, and I'm going to hand it out to the Iowa offense. One Iowa offense that hung 40 points in just so happened to be the same game where Brian Ferentz is no longer an offensive coordinator and Kirk Ferentz is suspended for the game. So I don't know how that happened. What a coincidence. Those three things are definitely not related.
The Ferentz family hates offense. It's a proven fact.
Do you think
offensive how bad they hate offense?
Let's play this conspiracy out. Do you think if Kirk was on the sideline, they would have scored less, or they would have attempted to score less? I guess is the better way of putting it.
I don't even know how to answer that. I don't think anything Kirk Ferentz does is like intentional. I don't think he intentionally seeks to score less points. I think he just really likes long drives. Whether they result in points or not is immaterial. He wants that ball in the opponent's red zone, and he just wants to take his time getting there. So I guess they would have scored less, but whether or not Kirk wanted it to be, but I don't know. It's crazy.
All right, Andy, I know your award and it makes me sad. Go get it.
So my award is the New School Who Dis Award. I was going to go with Jeff Choate, but since I already went with Nevada on my last pick, I decided to go with Bill O'Brien at Boston College. Comes out in his first game and just puts a whooping on the Seminoles. They were never in that game. They were disheartened. Boston College just beat them up on the field and in their hearts. So Bill O'Brien gets my new coach Who Dis award.
It really did look like FSU was expecting BC to lay down, and they were just pissed that didn't happen. And they were like, "Oh, we got to try hard to win this game. Fuck that."
I'm not going to go on a long diatribe about my opinions on this because I feel like I monopolized the time of the podcast last week from things that were valuable to voice and espouse how I feel. But congratulations to Bill O'Brien. You had the better team last night. You fucking did it. One
question for you guys real quick about Bill O'Brien before we move on. So we like to joke on the podcast in previous years that anytime a coach gets fired, they go to either the Nick Saban School of Rehabilitation or the Bill Belichick School of Rehabilitation. Bill O'Brien went to both. From the time he got fired to the Texans to taking this BC job, he worked for both. But they both retired last year. Where the hell are coaches going to go now to get rehabbed?
Harbaugh.
Harbaugh? That's a good one.
Can you go to Harbaugh? He's always in trouble. I feel like you can't go rehab at a place that has cocaine.
Belichick was like Deflategate and Spygate, and people went and rehabbed there.
That's true. I mean, Kirby Smart's eventually going to end up in that class, right? He's been so dominant.
Yeah, that's a good one.
My final award, and this is a big one. This one really means a lot to the whole podcast here. You know that we love Coach Jerry Kill on this podcast. He was the coach of our beloved New Mexico State Aggies last year, and he had a little quarterback named Diego Pavia. And Diego Pavia made a team that was like historically 2-10. I think they went 9-3 last year. And then Coach Kill, unfortunately, decided to retire. I don't remember what happened. It may be a health issue, but he decided to step away from the game. And there was a hole in all of our hearts from Coach Kill's absence. But Diego Pavia's legacy lives on. He goes over to Vanderbilt. The practice reports all week were that Vanderbilt was practicing terribly and Diego Pavia was really bad. Diego does not practice. In the game time, he balls, and boy, did he ball. You had a Virginia Tech team that was the trendy ACC championship pick. against the ropes all game, trailing, and they had to work their ass off to get to a tie in order to get to overtime. Diego Pavia took over. I think he had 120 yards rushing. He's never going to be the greatest passer. That's just not his game. But he also rushes from like a 5'9" height, 5'10" height. He's a small wrestler. He used to be a wrestler. I love it. So for the first annual For You Coach Kill Award, the FUCK, it goes to Diego Pavia. Congratulations, Diego. I'm very proud of you, sir. And so is Coach Kill. And we miss you.
And don't forget to circle your calendars for November 2nd when they go to Auburn, because Diego Pavia the last 2 years is an upset, well, not the last two. So what he has. Oh shit! What's their coach's name?
Hugh Freeze.
Hugh Freeze. He's got Hugh Freeze's number. So New Mexico State went and beat him in at Liberty, and then beat them at Auburn last year. And now Diego Pavia is at Vandy. Vandy's going to Auburn November 2nd. So that's I think the most fun thing in college football.
And Coach Kill actually is on staff at Vanderbilt. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, is he? I didn't know that.
He is. He said because of health, he couldn't be a head coach anymore, but he didn't want to step away from the game. So he's actually at Vanderbilt with Diego Pavia.
Oh, I love this story. It gets better and better. Yay, Coach Kill and Diego Pavia. I'm very happy. I don't think any college football podcast will talk this much about Coach Kill and Diego Pavia. If you find anyone else who does, kudos to them. But you should.
They've got an anchor in their logo. I guarantee it.
That's true. That's true. All right, we gave the positive awards out. Let's talk about the Kaiser Soze award. This is the team you thought looked most suspect over the weekend. There's a lot of good options here. I'm going to start it off. I'm just going to say, my beloved alma mater, what are you fucking doing? You look like the game plan was terrible. You threw the ball 50 times with DJU. You abandoned the run where you know your strength is the run, and you didn't correct enough on defense. Randy Shannon's a lovely man, but linebackers are, again, a problem. We haven't signed one. We did sign one, by the way, Blake Nicholson, who was really good last night, the giant white linebacker that was playing. I think he was one of the top-rated ones. But not good enough. Not good enough, and I don't know what this season will unfold to be. I'm guessing a youth movement is coming. Probably put DJU to the side and see what you have for the future. That's what I would do, right? Try to say, at least you could sell, be like, look, we're building for next year. Because if you go 4-8 with this team as currently constructed, there's no positive message. But Florida State, you are Kaiser Soze. Al, do you have a Kaiser Soze?
Yeah, so I think I'm going to go with NC State.
Ooh.
So I had another one, but I think Andy might take that one. So I'm going to go with NC State. I mean, they played Western Carolina and they gave up 21 points. They only scored 38. It was a bit of a slog. Grayson McCall, I don't know if it's like week one jitters, has to knock the rust off, but not a very impressive performance.
Yeah, not good. They were down at the half, right? Or they were like in a tied ball game at the half, and they had to come alive against the Catamounts of Western Carolina.
Yeah.
That's not good. That ain't good. This ain't App State in Western Carolina. This is the Catamounts.
And it's not like NC State is a powerhouse, right? It's not like you can go, oh, you know, they can go out and hang 70 next week on whoever they play. Like, no, this is NC State. Yeah, you know, it ain't getting prettier.
Scary season over there.
Yeah.
Andy?
So obviously a lot of teams to pick from here, right? You guys left me a lot of meat on the bone. You could go Florida, you could go Oregon, you could go Michigan. But I think Miami's really good, so I'm not going to go Florida. And Oregon and Michigan both did eventually win their games. So I'm going to go with Clemson. I know Georgia's really good, but those two teams did not look like they were even on the same level, did not belong in the same stadium. If you had told me Georgia played an FCS team, I would have believed you watching Clemson. So, Dabo, I don't know what you're doing. You're a little Kaiser Soze, little suspect.
The weird thing is we make fun of him in the transfer portal. I know I was saying this to you boys before. You could have had 25-star transfers. You weren't beating that Georgia team as you're currently constructed. They're at a different level, but that used to be your level, right? And that is a scary sign. We were talking about Florida State a second ago, like noticing signs. That ain't a good sign. You are far behind. And Cade Klubnik sucks. He's not good. He is just not good enough. Clemson quarterbacks right now, anyone who's played for Clemson over the last 4 years, just not good enough. Not good enough at the quarterback position.
Go ahead.
What was the meme that got sent in the chat today? The drop off from
Clemson or FSU hasn't had a quarterback drop off this bad, or the drop off from Jordan or.
The drop-off from Jordan Travis to DJU is the biggest drop-off in college football since the drop-off from DJU from Trevor Lawrence to DJU. Yeah. We fucked that up real bad.
Well said, boys. Well said.
Let's try it again.
Said.
Matt, why don't we stop? You explain the whole thing.
Okay. So there's a popular meme going around that says, the drop-off – oh, shit, I fucked it up too.
No, the drop-off in talent from
there hasn't been this big of a drop-off in talent from Jordan Travis to DJU since Trevor Lawrence to DJU. Yeah, something like that.
That's it.
Keep it all in there. We
Love it. Cut. I was going to say, so I actually didn't watch any of the Clemson-Georgia game because I was taking my kids to a monster truck show.
Hell yeah.
But it sounds like it was we saw pretty much the same thing. We saw one dominant vehicle crush one that was just out there to get ran over.
Yeah.
I like that. It's a good analogy.
There were some crazy things that happened this weekend. We can rapid fire these. I'm going to call them How the Fuck, right? How the Fuck is just what we're going to call this segment.
I love it.
And if you guys have any more opinions, feel free to add them. If not, I'll keep it moving. So how the fuck was Auburn up 21 points with 11 minutes left in the first quarter? How does that happen? I don't know how that happens.
How the fuck?
I didn't see it. I assume there was a defensive score or a special team score.
Or a return touchdown from
that's the only way that happens, right?
Or both. Probably a long touchdown.
Even if you get the ball, score, force a 3-and-out, score, force a 3-and-out, score, that's going to take more than 4 minutes, right?
Unless they were passing the ball every time. Like, it would have to be one play drives, and the team there, Alabama A&M, just decided to chuck the ball around and was hitting the ground a lot, right? That's the only way. I saw that on the ticker at the bottom. I'm like, how the fuck?
You're like shit. It's 12:06. How is it 21-0?
It was the inspiration for this whole segment when I saw that.
It's bad when you're like trying to figure out what time zone they started the game in.
How the fuck did Jalen Milroe completed 9 passes, 7 of 9, but they were for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns? How the fuck? That seems like a lot. That just seems like too many touchdowns. Or too many yards.
Almost 30 yards of completion.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. They have a kid that's 17 years old named Ryan Williams, the wide receiver. Scary season for people who are trying to play him. That dude, I know he decommitted from like 31 schools last year and then decided to stick it out with Alabama. Tough. He's going to be a problem.
Wasn't his first career catch like an 83-yard touchdown or something?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I mean, that's how the fuck 200 yards happens on 9 passes. But how the fuck did Ashton Genty have 20 carries and 267 yards? And if that wasn't good enough, 6 touchdowns. 6 touchdowns. The running back from Boise State, who is regarded as one of the best in the land. God damn, dude. That's a lot of points.
13 yards a carry and a touchdown every 3-point-something attempts.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good. But the most impressive stat of the night is you had to be a junkie, a real degenerate to stay up for Arizona, New Mexico. Am I saying that? Yeah, it was Arizona, New Mexico. This was a great game. Andy and I were late night betting it. We both hit the cover from New Mexico. But Teatro McMillan had 10 catches for 304 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's bananas. An average reception of 30 yards and a touchdown once every 2.5 receptions. How the fuck did that happen? I watched this game. I know how it happened. Fafita loves throwing deep passes to him, and he's always open. That dude is going to be so good in the NFL next year as like the number 15 pick. Someone's getting a jam.
Yeah. Turns out there's a good New Mexico and a bad New Mexico.
Yeah. Let's go through this one, the last one. There was a lot of let me start that over, Andy. Here's an edit. Let's go with this topic to end this week 1 reminder. Who gets fired first? If I could let you bet, who gets fired first? You could have Billy Napier or everybody else that's a head coach at a college, at an FBS school. Who do you think would get fired first? Billy Napier or any other option? Remember, you could get fired for sexual harassment, Mel Tucker. You can get fired for many different reasons. But if you had to bet today, would you bet Billy Napier or the field?
Al, go ahead.
I just couldn't not take the field. It's like 134-1. Like somebody might like step on a rake and get canned. I don't know. Like, but yeah, it sure doesn't feel good. Feels like Billy Napier's for sure. Like, notorious number 1 of the bullet, top of the list. I can't even think of someone else on that seat half as hot.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Billy Napier, partially just to say something different than Al did, but also because they play Samford this week. They'll win that. But after that, it is really hard to find a game on their schedule that you're like, oh yeah, they're going to win that. Like we've talked about this already, the toughest schedule, not just this year, but like maybe ever in college football. The Miami game was one that they had to win. And they didn't even show up. So yeah, I'm going to go Billy Napier.
It really feels like, the powers that be at the University of Florida built that schedule out the day after they agreed to sign Napier to like a big contract. And it was like, look, either he's good enough to win all these games and he stays, or this is a perfect scenario to get his ass out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Billy Napier is getting fired first.
Yeah.
There are some tricky spots. If he were to lose to UCF, that may be the one. But I would bank on October 20th, the day, I forgot who they play, but they go off a bye. Right. And then they have the murderer's row of games. Look, you can set up your interim head coach to be like, look, just manage us through this part of the schedule. Nothing good's going to come from this if Billy's here or not. And colleges always fire coaches before a bye, or right like on the bye week, so the new coach could have 2 weeks to get their program installed or a little bit of control. So
they play Kentucky that week.
Yeah, that's a perfect game to get fired after.
If it was UCF, lead right into the Georgia game though. Like there is the bye week you said, but Georgia's the next game, and so that's tough.
Yeah, they're also not beating Georgia.
There's never not a good game. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. They have an interim athletic director too, so I'll be curious to see if it's a package firing. If they just push them both out the door.
God, at number 14 Tennessee, then they host Kentucky, then they have the cocktail party against number 1 Georgia, then at number 3 Texas, hosting number 18 LSU, and then hosting number 6 Ole Miss before.
The last game of the year got easier for them. They can get that win in Tallahassee. They can hire.
Well, the thing is, like, this is when you wish you had Florida State on your schedule early, because by the end of the season, they may have figured shit out, and they may not be as easy to beat by then. But yeah.
To be fair, I think Florida State will get better. I think this is about as low as it gets.
It can't get worse.
Holy crap! I guess it can. It probably can. Anything else you guys want to talk about? SEC looked really good outside of Florida. ACC looked real bad outside of Miami. Is that fair? Anything else you guys want to add there?
No, Big Ten looked kind of mid.
That about covers it.
Schools. Big 12 looked fine. Louisville looked surprisingly good. Actually, I think we do need to give credit to Louisville. They outperformed what I expected. Brom's a good coach. I think we're learning. I don't think last year is going to be a fluke at all. I think they're going to be pretty competitive. Georgia Tech kind of staved off. They had some scares, but they ended up covering. Thank you for listening to the Single Leg Parlay Week 1 college football review. We love y'all. We appreciate it. Please go to singlelegparlay.com. We got a lot more information. We'll probably start putting some polls up, maybe some questions. We'd love to get your interaction there. You could pick who you think is the Kaiser Soze of the week there. Maybe. We'll see if that gets installed in time or not. I'm putting a lot of pressure on Andy live. But yeah, go to Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, make sure you're listening, like, subscribe, do all that stuff. We really, really appreciate it. We make this content for you. Have a good one, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.